Congratulations on this debut album. I've had a chance to sit down and take a listen to it, and it is an absolutely amazing album.
Oh, thanks, man. Much appreciated.
So, I guess one of the questions that our listeners are probably wondering about is we've been playing your tracks now for the last year, I think. How did the band get together in the first place? Because you were all so busy with other bands.
Yeah, look, it's just something that we've always, it's been a love genre of ours. Yeah, we've all come from different sort of areas of music, and, you know, Matt like a death metal, black metal background with Akakok and Bram Circa. You know, and Dave and I have come from more of like a sort of pop rock background. Ben's more metal as well. So I guess it was kind of like 50% of us meeting with the other 50% of us and meeting halfway.
Did you all know each other before you got together in the band, or was it one of those things where you just kind of all met at the same time?
Yeah, man. So Matt knew all. Matt, the guitarist, knew each one of us, and he played in bands with all of us previously. I mean, I was in a band when I was 17. I mean, I'm going on 40 now. Yeah, so I've known him for years and years, and you know, I've seen Ben around a couple of times. I did lighting for a couple of times when him and Matt were in bands together years ago as well. But Dave, I'd never met. And yeah, I guess he just brought everyone together because it was something stylistically that we thought would be a really good mashup, and you know, the chemistry is really, really good. It's the first band in my entire life, and as I said, I'm close to 40 now, and I've never felt more sort of at ease with a band. So, as you could probably appreciate, music and having a lot of people in the band is very diplomatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, really, really safe, and yeah, I'm sure we're going to be around for years to come.
Yeah, and the last 18 months has been such a crazy time. What's that like being in a new band when you've hardly been able to do any shows, and I guess at times you haven't even been able to get together to jam? What's that been like for the band as well?
Well, we did heaps of rehearsing before COVID hit, so like we were like, you know, once a week type rehearsals, and sometimes twice a week. So when it comes to sort of us gelling as a band, it's really the issue, and I guess we just made the best out of a bad situation when it came to COVID, like most bands really, and sort of knuckled down and started writing. And we had this album on the shelf. You know, we recorded it. You know, we started recording June all the way through to October in 2019, so it's been about 2 years that we've had it for. We just wanted to wait until the best time for it, but yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, really.
Having that album there and done for nearly 2 years, what's it like now for you, knowing that music's going to be out there? Because that must have been really, really difficult for you guys to sit on this music and know it was there, but not actually release it.
Yeah, I guess it was just a matter of, as I said, putting our heads down and getting more music recorded or written, should I say? And you know, we've already got the second album almost, you know, which is great. So we'll be heading into the studio back end of the year to record the second album, which is really good. And God, that's the crackers on there, man. I can tell you that much. But you know, coming back to the first album, I mean, we're just under 3 hours away from it being released, and yeah, pretty stoked, even though we're literally about to go into a lockdown the moment the album's released. So I'm having a Jamison right now on my own, so celebrating.
Yeah, that must be such a weird feeling, because you'd want to be out there celebrating, but unfortunately the minute that the album comes out, we go back into lockdown.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, man? I mean, we had a gig booked. We're actually on the bill with Dangerous Curves album launch tomorrow night, the same day that we release ours. And Ablaze was going to be there as well, so I had some cracking bands tomorrow night, which got postponed, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I guess the good side when it comes to us, we have album launch, which is tentatively booked for October. So I believe Electric Mirror is going to be on the bill for our album launch as well. So really excited to hear about that.
Awesome. So going right back for when you first started working on this album, tell us a little bit about what you guys set out to achieve and a little bit about that writing process for putting these tracks together as well.
Yeah, I guess the writing process has been great with this band because it's really streamlined. I've been in a lot of bands whereby you write the whole song in your own studio at home, and then we bring all the tracks together and we decide which one's the better song, go from there. Or we rehearse it out until we get the song. But this one's really simple, really quick. Matt will jot down the guitars, or Ben will jot down ideas for guitars, and then they'll sort of collaborate. And they'll send me over the track, and I'll add the melody and the lyrics to it. And Dave will add his sort of drums to it, and then we'll get band. It's a really easy way of doing like a quick demo by doing it that way as well, because when we go in to record the actual album, we've got demos there which we can reference off as well. So having that, it's really handy, it's really quick, and it's worked really well for us.
And a lot of the lyrics feel really deep and personal as well. Is that something that's just happened with the band along the way?
Yeah, I mean, we're a bit of a mishmash of when it comes to the tracks and having meanings behind it. A lot of them don't really think they're just, hardcore party, fun, Sunset Strip in Melbourne style rock tracks. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel at all. It's all about, just trying to reignite a bit of a flame when it comes to rock, because as you probably know, it's hard to get rock onto major platforms these days. I was literally just having a conversation with the guys from MTV today. They were saying, love the video, bleed me out, but there's no platform for us to put it on. So it's that type of hurdle that we get in this day and age. But I guess the meaningful parts, Make Sure You Never Walk Alone was really personal to the band. I don't know if you all the listeners know, but Diamond Dave, his sister was murdered about 5 years ago, and it was just a note to her, and it was a little bit of trying to shed a bit of light on domestic violence and violence against women. Same with No Friend of Mine, is a very similar track as well. So, but everything else, try not to put a dampener on the album itself. We just wanted to sort of try and make it as upbeat and as pumping as possible, and quintessential 70s style rock, have one ballad on the album.
I was going to say, tracks like May She Never Walk Alone, that must have been tough for you to sit down and read that, knowing what the background was to that song.
Yeah, and I think even for people who listen to music, you want them to take what they want out of the song. So having that universal appeal is, I think, personally really important to us. But knowing that there's a track there that has some sort of deep connection with us as well is it was tough to write. It was tough for obviously Dave and Dave's family through it with me as well, because writing the melody and the lyrics, wanted to make sure that I was doing it justice. But all the guys really came up to the table, and they delivered really well. I'm stoked with how it came out, and out of all the songs on the album, that one for me is just melodically, production wise. Penny Jones, who was an amazing backing vocalist, did the choir work on it. Jake Lowe did the string arrangements on it, and we're just really, really psyched that it came out as it did.
Definitely. And I wanted to go back to something you said before about there being no platform at the moment for rock and hard rock. I can't really talk about it much because I'm the host of a hard rock metal show, but how hard is that to actually get your music out there now, especially when it's so surprising, because you look around Australia and you see such a healthy metal and hard rock scene. What is the excuse that they use when they say that there's no platform for it?
They usually use the lines like, when they passed, it hasn't met up to their KPIs, or the listenership's been low. But, I understand it with top 40 commercial networks, I get it. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the bottom dollar, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to argue with them, but it's platforms where it's aided by government. I'm going to name names, but you can probably appreciate what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's there's. I see their additions because look, I'm in radio plugging myself, so I'm a radio promoter myself, which is why it's a lot easier for us to sort of make a bit of mark on commercial radio. But knowing that there's platforms that was designed for artists to get a leg up and unknown artists in Australia to get a leg up, and I know for a fact that the commercial top 40 networks are giving original bands more additions and features and support than what networks who are government funded are actually doing. And I've seen those additions, man. They're like 99% major labels. And back 10 years ago, it wasn't like that.
Yeah. So how do you go around that? Like, do you look to other countries like the US or Europe or like Germany in particular, where hard rock and metal is like such a popular genre?
Yeah, it's a lot more prevalent over in Europe and the US, obviously, and I guess it's a lot harder being in Australia to promote your stuff over there. We're lucky because we've got an amazing label, Golden Robot Records, who took us under their wing, and they've been absolutely fantastic, man. And I guess working side by side as a band, it isn't just, okay, we're signed, now we can put our feet up and relax because the label's got us. If anything, it's the complete opposite. You've got to work even harder because you've got to prove yourself. But yeah, just to answer your question in a long way, yeah, definitely. I mean, anything you can get, really. But we're just so grateful for people like yourself who put on rock shows and who are still sort of keeping the flame nice and hot for us.
Definitely. Well, what is the plans now for the rest of the year? You mentioned before about a show in October, and you also said about heading back into the studio, but are you guys even looking to go a little bit further and maybe do some interstate shows as well later in the year?
Yeah, man. So we've actually we're starting. Well, apparently, if the gods of rock and roll allow us to, we're starting our Australian tour. In about 3 weeks. On August 6th, we start up in Perth, and then Adelaide, Newcastle, Sydney, Wollongong, Brisbane, back down here in Melbourne, and we're supporting Electric Mary throughout the whole tour, which is really cool. So Electric Mary, I grew up listening to those dudes, and being those guys, and then having a whole bunch of local artists in that area support us as well. But I just fingers crossed that we get to do it in the time frame that we want. But hey, it'll be rescheduled. If not, we'll still be able to do it. So regardless, we're looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, we're going to keep our fingers crossed. And right now on the show, we're actually going to play Collide. So would you like to say anything to everybody out there before they take a listen to this amazing track?
Oh man, just put your feet up, relax, have a scotch. It's a fun night in here in Melbourne, and all you guys listening, rock out, Collide. It's an amazing track, and thank you so much for having me today.
Not a problem at all, and I know a lot of our listeners are going to go out there and grab the album. So Glenn, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a privilege chatting to you, and we cannot wait to see you guys be able to get back on the stage and play some live shows as well.
You're a legend, mate. Thank you so much for having us. Take care.